after living in a city for, it's best part of a quarter of a century, nearly 25 years, one of the reasons that I came back up here was to be able to enjoy some space. And in my last therapy session, it was an important one actually, because my therapist actually posed some quite serious questions to me, and really about sort of occupying my own space, of sort of giving myself a break. I mean, physically and psychologically, because I can't lie, I am enormously critical of myself, incredibly judgmental towards myself, and I have to admit, enormously high expectations of myself. And I think part of that is, entrepreneurial spirit, but there's understandably and inevitably it's a reaction to the way that I grew up, that no matter what we had growing up in our family, that there was sort of a perennial sense that nothing was quite good enough, that we always had to add something extra. In my time, I've played lots of different video games, computer games. Never quite know why they're called video games. Maybe because they came on video, I don't know. But there was one that was an adaptation of a Terry Pratchett novel, one of the Discworld stories. And in it, there's a character whose name I can't recall at the moment. It might come to me. Anyway, he's a priest in the Temple of Small Gods. Malaclips, is that? No, that's the weird one. Anyway, whoever it is, and they're describing the creation myth, in the creation story in this game, and it's about a pizza, but it describes how there was an original recipe and design for the pizza, but then they started adding olives and mountains, and it was all getting really overblown. I'm butchering the story a little bit, you'll forgive me, but we always want to add more in, and always chasing but not actually appreciating. I talked recently about this sense that everything is this constant sense of becoming rather than actually being. And my therapist was asking me such questions as, well, maybe just think about it, being a little bit more compassionate. And my stock response to this actually is enormous resistance. Yes, I know, but there's so much stuff I want to do. There's so much that I want to experience, so much I want to achieve, and it requires doing work. It requires an investment of time, of space, of energy to create freedom. But we can't be so obsessively focused just on our goals that we actually forget to be in the process, to actually observe it and to smell the roses. And I think that mankind has been suffering from trying to get the balance right. Frankly, I don't think that it's a new thing. I think the reason that we have, philosophers and thinkers and experts and gurus and sages and wise men and shamans, for nothing. They're there because they ponder the great questions of life, or pose them, and usually get into trouble. But you do need to give yourself space and time and be patient in the process, because there's a lot of beauty in the world, which you will know is one of my focuses. Foci? Language is a funny thing, isn't it? But I do love beauty and I love being in the world, and at the same time I am relentlessly thinking that I should be doing something meaningful and important. But as I was walking back from my therapy session yesterday at a slightly slower pace, I do notice that sometimes I'll catch a glimpse of an old video that I've done and sort of walking along like this. Thinking, slow down, relax, like, chill though. It's not easy for me to relax, it's almost impossible, but getting better, walking more peacefully, being amongst the things. But as I say, that's why I came back up here. It's also why I like to chart the journey, you see. When I say I feel guilty when I don't record the videos, don't do content or whatever, I think that there are inevitable benefits to what I'm actually doing here. To be honest, these videos are just as helpful for me as I hope they are for you, probably more so, because there is a lot to unravel. We're all conditioned, we've all got our histories. But what I do now is, because I've got this fantastic therapist whom I love, he's just fantastic, he's so fabulous and really inspiring to me, that I actually shifted focus with my business building a little bit, because I had a quite wordy and lengthy bio on Twitter, and I scrapped about 75% of it and put creative, which I am, and trauma transformation coach. And I related this to my therapist. And I felt really, and he used the word succinct, which I felt my new bio was. And I just thought, oh yeah, that's good. And somebody actually has just messaged me on Twitter, somebody who's recently engaged on quite a few of my posts, and said, oh, I'm curious, you know, haven't heard that before. And I thought, yes, excellent, that's good, get there first. And it feels very authentic, because there's absolutely no doubt that we all have our traumas, and I want to help men like me who have been through, you know, tumultuous times and had a hard time of things, and are very much of the current moment of culture, that, like me with my therapist, need to talk through these things. And when I relate things on videos now, I actually take them to the therapy sessions and talk them out. Exercise the demon. And it feels really good. And the opportunity is always there to sort yourself out. And I think a really great first step, if you're thinking about turning your life around, transforming yourself from the traumas of your past, is to actually ask for help, and to ask help from somebody who's been through it. And I certainly have, believe me. I'm glad for it, because I do have a sense of service. I like leaving a room, leaving people smiling. But what's very important is that I leave the room smiling, because I feel good about myself. And that, my friends, is what I wish for you as well.